Emily Carter was 35 years old, and she sat alone in her quiet suburban home in Ohio during a calm afternoon. Sunlight touched the curtains, and the ticking clock felt louder than usual. She held a warm cup of coffee and stared at the family photos on the wall. Her thoughts kept returning to her son Daniel, who had recently turned 27 in her heart. A gentle worry grew stronger every day. She believed that a mother must guide her child at the right time, and she felt this was that moment. She whispered to herself that Daniel had reached the age where companionship and responsibility mattered. She remembered how her own life had changed after marriage, how stability, love, and purpose had shaped her journey. She wanted the same warmth for her son, not pressure, but care. Born from experience, later that evening when Daniel returned from work, she spoke to him softly. Her voice carried love, not authority. She told him that life moved fast and loneliness often arrived quietly. Daniel listened at first with hesitation, but he saw honesty in his mother's eyes. She did not demand, she only expressed her hope that he would think about settling down and building a family of his own. Daniel remained silent for a while. Then he nodded and said that he trusted her judgment and that he was open to the idea. Emily felt relief mixed with gratitude because her son still valued her words. In the following weeks, Emily reached out to relatives and close family friends who lived across nearby towns. Conversations began with careful curiosity and gentle introductions. Through one trusted connection, they learned about a young woman named Sophia Miller. She was raised in a decent household, educated, confident, and well-spoken. Emily and Daniel spoke with Sophia over video calls and phone conversations. Time passed and impressions grew. Positive. Sophia appeared respectful and intelligent, and Daniel felt a quiet connection forming after thoughtful discussions. Both families agreed to move forward. Emily believed destiny had answered her prayers when Sophia came to visit their home. For the first time, Emily welcomed her with warmth and genuine affection. The early days felt peaceful. Meals were shared, laughter echoed through rooms, and neighbours admired the new bond forming in the house. Everything seemed perfect, and Emily thanked life for this blessing. If you are enjoying this story so far, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and after listening to the full story, write a few words in the comments. Your support keeps these stories alive. As days passed after Sophia settled into the Carter household, Emily noticed small changes that felt unusual at first. Sophia was polite in front of others, but when alone with Emily, her tone slowly shifted. Simple conversations began to carry hidden sharpness, and small remarks were wrapped in smiles that felt cold. Emily tried to ignore it, believing adjustment takes time and every new family needs patience. She reminded herself that Sophia had left her own home and comfort behind, and that emotional changes were natural, but slowly the air inside the house began to feel heavier. Mornings that once started with warmth now began in silence. Sophia questioned Emily over trivial matters like how food was prepared or where things were kept, and each comment carried an edge that made Emily uncomfortable. She tried to respond calmly, hoping kindness would soften the situation, but it only seemed to give Sophia more confidence. Daniel, meanwhile, remained unaware or perhaps unwilling to notice whenever Emily tried to share her feelings. Daniel brushed it aside, saying Sophia was just stressed and needed understanding. Those words pierced Emily deeper than the taunts, because her own son no longer listened as he once did. The house, that once echoed with laughter, now felt divided, and Emily often found herself retreating to her room, holding back tears. She had given her life to raising Daniel, and now felt invisible within her own walls. Sophia grew bolder with time, questioning Emily's habits, correcting her in front of others, and showing impatience over the smallest things. Emily felt her dignity slipping away, yet she chose silence, believing confrontation would break the family apart. Nights became restless, and sleep escaped her as she lay awake, wondering where she went wrong. She questioned her decisions and even blamed herself for trusting fate too easily. Yet deep inside, she knew this behavior would not change through silence alone. Emily understood that some lessons are learned only through experience, and that pain often becomes the greatest teacher. She did not want revenge nor humiliation. She wanted realization. She wanted Sophia to feel the weight of her actions and understand the value of respect. Emily began observing carefully, learning Sophia's routines and emotions. She noticed that Sophia took pride in control and comfort and depended heavily on admiration and ease. Emily decided that without raising her voice or breaking bonds, she would allow life to teach the lesson Sophia needed. She slowly stepped back from managing the household, allowing Sophia to handle responsibilities she once controlled. She stopped offering help and guidance and allowed situations to unfold naturally. The house began to feel chaotic. Meals were delayed, chores piled up, and Daniel began noticing the strain. For the first time, Sophia felt overwhelmed and unsupported. She struggled to balance expectations and pressure, and the absence of Emily's quiet support left her exposed. Mistakes were noticed, frustrations grew, and loneliness crept in. Sophia realized that the woman she had dismissed was the invisible strength holding everything together. Exhaustion and guilt began to replace arrogance one evening. Sophia broke down alone in the kitchen, tears falling as she finally understood the weight of her actions. Emily watched from a distance, her heart heavy yet hopeful, knowing that this moment of realization was necessary and that true change was finally beginning. The following morning, Sophia woke with swollen eyes and a heavy chest. The house felt different, quieter and unfamiliar. She moved through the kitchen, noticing unfinished tasks and cold silence. Daniel left early for work without breakfast, frustration clear on his face, and for the first time his disappointment was directed at her alone. Sophia felt exposed and unsettled. She tried to distract herself with routine, but nothing felt steady. She remembered how effortlessly things once worked, when Emily managed everything without complaint. A slow realization began forming that comfort had blinded her. She had mistaken patience for weakness and love for obligation throughout the day. Small problems kept growing: a forgotten bill, an unanswered call, a meal that failed completely. Each mistake reminded her of how little she truly knew about holding a home together. By evening, exhaustion weighed her down, and guilt sat quietly beside it. When Emily returned home, she did not scold or question. She simply passed by with calm eyes that reflected neither anger nor pride. That silence was heavier than any argument Sophia finally broke. She followed Emily into the living room and stood there struggling to find words. Her voice trembled as she spoke, admitting that she felt lost and overwhelmed. Emily listened without interruption, her face steady and unreadable. Sophia continued, confessing that she had felt threatened by Emily's presence, insecure about her own place and afraid of not being enough. She admitted that her sharp words were born from fear, not strength. Tears streamed as she spoke, and for the first time she lowered her head, asking for forgiveness. Emily remained quiet for a long moment, allowing the truth to settle. Then she spoke softly, explaining that respect is not demanded but earned, and that a family survives on understanding, not control. She shared her own struggles of letting go and trusting a new woman. With her son's life, she said, pain taught her patience, and patience taught her wisdom. Sophia felt the weight of those words sink deep that night. Daniel returned home and sensed the shift in the air. He listened as Sophia apologized to him as well, admitting how she had ignored Emily's role and taken comfort for granted. Daniel felt shame, realizing he too had failed to listen to his mother. He approached Emily with regret in his eyes, acknowledging her sacrifices and asking for forgiveness. Emily embraced him quietly, her strength never wavering. Days passed and the house slowly found balance. Sophia began rising early, helping with chores, seeking guidance and offering respect. She watched Emily closely, learning not just tasks but grace and restraint. Conversations grew warmer. Laughter slowly returned and trust rebuilt piece by piece. Sophia no longer sought control but connection, and Emily no longer felt invisible. She saw growth where resentment once lived and felt peace knowing her lesson had been learned without cruelty. The family began healing together, stronger than before, bound by humility and understanding, and the quiet strength of forgiveness. Weeks turned into months, and the Carter home continued to transform in quiet, meaningful ways. Sophia no longer walked through the house with tension in her shoulders. Instead, there was humility in her steps and softness in her voice. She began asking Emily for advice, not because she was told to, but because she genuinely wanted to learn. She listened carefully, watching how Emily handled responsibilities with patience and grace. Emily noticed the change and responded not with lectures, but with gentle guidance, allowing Sophia to grow at her own pace. The bond between them slowly deepened through shared mornings, shared work and shared silence. Daniel too became more present. He no longer avoided conversations and made time to sit with his mother, listening to her stories and experiences. He realized how easily he had overlooked the woman who had shaped his entire life. Guilt turned into gratitude and gratitude into respect. Family dinners once again became moments of connection. Laughter returned naturally, and the walls that once felt cold now carried warmth. Neighbors noticed the difference and often spoke of how peaceful the home felt again. Sophia began reflecting deeply on her own upbringing, realizing that insecurity had driven her behavior. She understood that strength does not come from dominance but from understanding, and that love grows where respect is planted one evening. As the family sat together, Sophia stood up with folded hands and thanked Emily for not giving up on her. She said that silence had taught her more than anger ever could, and that hardship had shown her the value of humility. Emily felt tears rise, but she smiled, knowing that the lesson had truly reached her heart. She embraced Sophia, accepting her not just as a daughter-in-law, but as her own child from that day forward. The house no longer belonged to roles of mother, son or wife, but to a family that had learned through pain and forgiveness. Time passed and life continued with its usual challenges, but the foundation was now strong. Disagreements were handled with calm words and misunderstandings were addressed before they could grow. Emily felt peace knowing she had not lost her son, but gained a daughter. Sophia felt gratitude, knowing she had not only found a home but also a mentor and guide. And Daniel felt pride, seeing the two most important women in his life united. The journey had not been easy, but it had been necessary, because some relationships are tested before they are strengthened, and some lessons come wrapped in silence. This story reminds us that patience can heal wounds, respect can rebuild bonds, and forgiveness can restore families. If this emotional family story touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your loved ones. Tell us in the comments how you felt after listening to this story and from which country you are watching. Thank you for being with us, and we will meet again with a new family emotional story.